Northern Italy is known for many things, with its fashion in Milano to the serene lakes in the shadows of the Alps, and of course the all-important racing scene. Just outside the mesmerizing city of Milano lies the Franciacorta circuit. Regarded as one of the favorites in modern karting history, the track officially opened in the year of 2021. The event record set in time qualifying, Luna Flusha 48.140. That was set yesterday. Earlier on, again, a new pole sitter in the senior category, but a very close time indeed. Going into the track itself, though, 1,300 meters. It's 160 meters down the start-finish straight. It's 180 meters down the back straight, uphill into the final hairpin on the circuit, which is the most feared corner in modern karting. Track width 7.5 meters to around 11 meters in some part of the circuit, with an elevation change of 5 meters. It's actually quite an up and down circuit here in northern Italy. The track, though, it spans across 14 turns, 9 to the right, 5 to the left, and 2 hairpins. Incredibly fast, incredibly demanding for all of the drivers, but certainly for this weekend, we should see some fabulous overtakes through turns 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, and of course, turn 13, which saw some of the most dramatic overtakes at the end of some of the races. Top speed drivers reaching around this circuit 125 kilometers an hour into the braking zone of turn number 2, with an average speed of around 97 kilometers an hour going in around the entirety of the lap. It is a fast circuit, it is a fabulous circuit, and it's one of the most modern circuits on the calendar. Like you say, only been racing here for a couple of years for many of the people. But today is a brand new day for the Champions of the Future Academy program. Yesterday was a busy day for, of course, all the drivers. Today, though, after time qualifying, we've got another smattering of qualifying heats. And then, of course, the 3 finals at the end of today. It's another full day of point scoring opportunities. And it kickstarts with the OKN Junior qualifying Heat 1. That'll be taking to the circuit in a few moments' time. Well, for all of these drivers, it has been a very busy weekend. But for right now, all of them just focusing on what they can do ahead. There you can see our race director, Martin Bean, getting himself lined up, ready to go. He's had an absolutely superb weekend of having to manage all of these drivers. Yesterday was actually quite a busy day, a hectic day for many. But today, hopefully, will be a little bit more tranquil for many drivers. There on pole position, the Italian Enea Pizzuto, who this season has not yet started on pole position. This is the first pole position start, and as you can see from the final results on this one, has had a good finish yesterday. Top 10 P9 finish, best final results of the weekend. But we caught up with Enea Pizzuto at the end of time qualifying. Well, Sunday's qualifying for OKN Junior in the Champions of the Future Academy program, and Enea Pizzuto on pole position. And a fabulous time for you there, a very busy session. How do you feel? You're on top here in time qualifying.
I feel really happy and a bit, how I say?
Nervous?
Yeah, nervous, because I never started first, and I'm a bit nervous.
Yeah. Well, the pace is there. It's looking quick. And like you say, it's going to be a busy old day racing today. All I can say is relax, take a breath. And, you know, it's going to be a fun day of racing. And I think the biggest thing is, are you looking forward to it?
First one, I will say thank you to my mechanic, Bruno, and to my family that support me.
Well, congratulations. Well done. We will see you out there in the racing.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, great to chat there to Enea Pizzuto. And yes, understandably, nerves do kick in. A first pole position starting on the front row can be a little bit nerve-wracking for a driver. But nevertheless, as soon as you get going, the visor's down, the engine's fired up, you usually get that tunnel vision and you can just focus on the race ahead. And because you've got clear track in front of you, all you need to think about is going forward. And for Enea Pizzuto this weekend, that is most likely gonna happen. Let's take you through then the full starting lineup as the engines fire up. It's Enea Pizzuto on the front row, and in her first pole position start of the season, Leonard Peruzzi starting alongside on the front row. Pole sitter from yesterday, Anagnostiidis, starts on row 2. Will be joined by Victoria Farfus alongside on P4. Angelina Simmons and Jan Mikuleshko round out row number 3. They'll have William Marshall and Ella Hakkinen on row 4. Connor Clancy and Axel Nocom round out row 5 and the top 10. They'll have Casper Reipold and Isaac Say on row 6. Kees Aziza and Dinia Islamov round out row 7. They'll have Sofia Pavansniaya and Flavio Calia on row 8, with Vanessa Shilkanate and Egon Prodotti on row 9. Oscar Gallin and Toby Gale round out the top 20 on row 10, with Matthias Witwer and Marcel Capella on row 11. Remember, Witwer, the winner from the final yesterday. Karine Kaur and Amria Adrinson round out row 12. Then it's Konstantin Paps and Sara Matsui on row 13. Clelia Sodu and Nilas Malik round out row 14, with Sanjana Dandu and Michaela Hart rounding out the top 30 on row 15. Vida Yulan and Xavier Dukowski on row 16, with Sujana Dandu and Emilia Vishamirska. Then it's Zachariah Dole and Christian Ebras who round out the top 36 drivers on the field. There is our race director, Martin Bean, sending the drivers round once more for their formation start. There you can see the mechanics stand filling up with mechanics getting ready to guide their pilots through their first race of today. This will be their third qualifying heat of the weekend. There is a live feed from Race Control. Head of Race Control, Joanna Falcao, joined by Sara Blanco as well. Both of them keeping a very close eye on the drivers and in constant communication with our race director, Martin Bean, with a smattering of 34 cameras on circuit. This is a false start. They are going round again. The back of the field not formed up at all as they make their way back in towards turn number 1. So again, our first false start of the weekend. It was a very busy day yesterday. I've got to say there was an extra driver's briefing this morning, a mandatory one for the field yesterday after only 9 races that we had played. I think there were 3 red flags yesterday. There were 3 slow procedures. And, of course, there was a bit of a morning briefing this morning saying to the drivers, right, yesterday was a bit frantic. Today, let's calm it down a little bit. Enjoy the racing, but let's not have it too busy like it was yesterday. Hopefully, that sunk in to the drivers, but we'll have to wait and see. You know, it's like telling a racing driver to slow down. That's never going to happen, is it? They're always going to go as fast as they possibly can. And, well, completely understandably. They cross the red line from here on out. No overtaking is permitted. They're allowed to line up alongside their co-compatriot for the start procedure for this one. But other than that, there is no overtaking permitted to get back into your original starting spot. This looks a little bit better at the front. Back of the grid needs to sort it out a little bit, tighten it up, but it looks good, and we are green and racing for the first time today, and it's a great start for Pizzuto. Holds on to the lead and has great pace going in towards turn 2. Those nerves seem to have disappeared immediately as she holds on to the race lead on this one. Down into the inside, but it's all kicked off in the background here. Michaela Hart is one of them. The 24 as well of Sara Soy is involved there as well. Who else is there? I think maybe Isaac Say could be one. And Dinia Islamov, another. The 4 drivers off at the front of the field there. And that all started with Isaac Say and Dinia Islamov. They were next to each other on track, and unfortunately, for Sara Matsui and Michaela Hart, they just got caught up in someone else's incident. Race continuing. Green flag still out for the rest of the circuit as we see side-by-side action in the background there. Casper Reipold getting squeezed right to the outside. As you can see, the top 2 are breaking away here. Pizzuto and Agnostiidis looking very strong as we see the drivers who have retired from this race accumulating in Marshall Post 2. Well, the race going on, and look at this here. Enea Pizzuto controlling this race right now, breaking away with James Anagnostiidis. Now, Anagnostiidis, pole sitter yesterday, didn't win the final yesterday after starting on pole. It was a perfect day up until that final. It was pole position in time qualifying 2, qualifying heat wins. Yeah, like you say, I think maybe used those Vega tyres just that little bit too much as he dives to the inside now. And retakes the lead here and moves up into P1. And Pizzuto can now just sit behind Anagnostiidis and not have to worry about anything else. This is where it becomes a little bit more interesting because Pizzuto is finding herself in a position here that I don't think she's found herself in many races right now. Like you say, it was her first pole position. We spoke to her. She said she was really nervous, but those nerves have gone away right now. She can just focus on the battle ahead. The battle behind, however, is certainly heating up as everyone fighting for position here. I can see William Marshall in the foreground there. You've got Victoria Fastfuss battling away. She's just been overtaken now by Marshall. Marshall getting through. Case Aziza Pavaznaya's there as well, as there are more drivers off the circuit there, and that looks to me like that could be Ella Häkkinen, the driver of the number 25, unfortunately retiring from this race. She had a good day yesterday. Today, though, not starting her way. Well, look at this one. Jan Michalescu here is closing in, the driver in third place in the number 42 after suffering a broken arm in the first round at Cremona. Missing out at Valencia, is back here at Franciacorta, and, well, seems to be looking very strong here on day 2 of the racing. They're in third place and latching on to the back of these two here. We've got a 3-kart breakaway now for the race lead. Looking down the inside there was Michalescu not able to get the move done. Now drops back just that little bit. Pizzuto holding strong in second place. This is a very, very competitive drive that we're seeing so far. Let's have a look at the replay there. What happened to, was this the Ella Häkkinen moment? Yes, it was. Unsure there if there was any contact, but yeah, just into the braking zone of turn number 5. Judging by that reaction there, I think, yeah, may have been assisted off the circuit a little bit, but we couldn't quite see from our camera position. Right, back with the racing here. No change between the top 3, staying line astern. And again, I think this is understandable. I don't think we'll see much from this. Of course, they're in a good position right now. For 2 of these 3 drivers, these will be the best positions they'll have gained so far this weekend. For Jan Michalescu, he had up and down results yesterday. For Enea Pizzuto again as well, also up and down results. Had a best final finish yesterday for Enea Pizzuto. But for James Anagnostiadis, he's used to being in this position in the qualifying heats phase of the weekend, as he just is, controlling his own race at the moment. Angelina Simmons has got up into P4 now as well, a gain of 1 place. Kasper Reipold just behind after gaining 6 places is up into P5. Marshall now into 6th place as Case Aziza's up 6 places into P7. Victoria Fastfuss in 8th place currently at the moment. And then Pavaznaya, Gale and Clancy have all just got past Vanessa Schilkenate on that last lap. However, all of them are still up positions other than Connor Clancy. He's down 2 positions at the moment, but still in a very strong spot. Eyes on this one here. Could we see a change in the top 3? The answer to that is yes. Down the inside, Michalescu goes through and into 2nd place. Pizzuto doesn't fight it. And again, this is still in a strong position here. A top 3 have got a considerable gap from the rest of the field. There are some 2 seconds clear from Angelina Simmons, and immediately we're going to see a change for the lead. Anagnostiadis getting pipped out of the way there, and Michalescu going to the top. Like I say, missing out on Valencia and the 2nd final in Cremona. Michalescu certainly on the back foot in terms of the championship standings, but today this will certainly help him out if he can get away with maximum championship points in the qualifying heats phase. 25 championship points will certainly help out his fight, but he's going to have to work a little bit harder here as down the inside goes Anagnostiadis, and Pizzuto follows as well, back into 2nd place. And just as they were in their original positions, they're back there once again. We go on to the final lap of this race, and Anagnostiadis is controlling it. Pizzuto there in 2nd. Michalescu in 3rd. Simmons is still in P4 from Reipold, Marshall and Aziza. Fastfuss into 8th. Clancy and Gale still rounding out the top 10 from the rest of the field. But eyes are focused on these top 3, who at the moment are still clear, but now the gap's down to just 1 second. Any more squabbling between these 3, they might find themselves in a bit of bother from the likes of Angelina Simmons and Kasper Reipold just behind. In towards turn 13, they head down the back straight now, in towards turn 14, and again Pizzuto's going to look to the inside, but Anagnostiadis closes the door. Pizzuto runs slightly wide now, goes wheel to wheel with Michalescu, but they'll have the inside line, and across the line it will be Anagnostiadis, the pole sitter from yesterday. now after not getting a pole today, but takes the first qualifying heat win ahead of Enna Pizzuto. A fabulous result and a thumbs up there for Enna Pizzuto, just to say well done, congratulations. And I think a thumbs up there to Enna Pizzuto, a fabulous qualifying heat, despite those nerves kicking in, coming away with a P2 finish. Mitskalesko then finishing in P3 ahead of Angelina Simmons. Reipold finishing in P5 ahead of William Marshall. Kees Aziza from Victoria Farfus, who finishes in P8. Didn't have the best race in that one, dropping down, but still a good result. She was plagued yesterday with penalties in her races. One of them no fault of her own when she was pushed over the white line on the pit exit. And unfortunately, that resulted in a disqualification.
That was number 14 that makes contact with the rear of the car that went into the barrier.
Well, confirmation there. Victoria Farfus, I think, getting caught out in an incident. And unfortunately, she has dropped down the order. And right, well, let's see what we can do for this one. Well, there we go. James Anagnostianis taking the win ahead of Enna Pizzuto. Jan Michalescu from Angelina Simmons. Casper Reipold from William Marshall. Kees Aziza from Victoria Farfus. Connor Clancy from Toby Gale. Sofia Paznaya as well, finishing in 11th place. Egon Prodotti from Vanessa Schilkenate. Matthias Witwer from Flavio Calia. Linus Peruzzi from Nilas Malik. Oscar Gallin from Axel Nocom. Amadou Adriansen from Marcel Capella. Then it's Emilia Wisomierska and Savria Dudkovsky. Sanjana Dandu and Sujana Dandu round out the top 25 ahead of Christian Ebras and Claire Sodu, I should say. Zachariah Dole rounds out the 28 finishers, but there on your screen, James Anagnostianis, Enna Pizzuto and Jan Michalescu rounding out the top 3 on circuit. There for James Anagnostianis, back to where he wants to be, on that top spot. Like I say, qualifying didn't go his way. 3rd in qualifying, but a 2-place gain puts him right back where he wants to be, and that is right at the top. 50 intermediate classification points will go his way ahead of Pizzuto. His best result of the weekend then for Enna Pizzuto. Let's have a look at the start of that one. Great getaway initially for the top 3. Able to sweep across the track there was Anagnostianis, holding off any advantage from any other driver. Pizzuto as well holding on to the top. Drama would kick off in the background though. Unfortunately for Isaac Say and Islamov, they would get caught up in an incident ahead, and unfortunately for Sara Matsui and Michaela Hart, they would get caught out in the incident as well. Vera Jurland on the opening lap also got caught out in an incident and retired on the opening lap of the race. Ella Hakkinen a few moments later as well would also suffer a retirement. No fault of her own as more drivers going grass tracking at the exit of turn at number 5. Again, very tricky turn here. That was the first change for the lead. Anagnostianis down the inside of Enna Pizzuto, moving up into P1, would later get caught up by Jan Michalescu, who would battle away for 3rd place. The action kicking off behind, though, was William Marshall was battling with Victoria Farfus as well. As you can see, the number 14 just getting through at that stage. Later, then getting squeezed out the way a little bit here as drivers would send it down the inside, starting with Marshall. It allowed the likes of Kees Aziza as well, Connor Clancy, Toby Gale to all close in, and there were big movers all the way throughout. And there on your screen, the unfortunate moment for Ella Hakkinen, unfortunately out of the race and clearly very frustrated with that race. But another qualifying heat will be available later on today for the juniors, so all not is lost just yet. This is where it started to get a little bit interesting at the front. The top 3 battling away. Jan Michalescu making the first change in the top section there, then going into the race lead ahead of James Anagnostianis. And Pizzuto staying into 3rd place. That would change, though, as both Anagnostianis and Pizzuto would squeeze their way past and get back into 1st and 2nd. Then onto the last lap. It'd be a little bit tense going out that final corner, wheel to wheel between Pizzuto and Michalescu, but it would be James Anagnostianis taking the first win of the day ahead of Enna Pizzuto and Jan Michalescu across the line. Close and competitive, but Again, another qualifying heat for the juniors will be coming up later on today. Don't go anywhere, though. 2 more qualifying heats to go for the morning part of the qualifying heats phase. Mini 60 qualifying heat 1 is coming up next. 7 laps of this race. And again, in the minis, it was a very close qualifying. Only 1 lap was set by the entirety of the field. Now, in time qualifying, they get allocated 6 minutes for the session, but drivers waited until just around 1.5 minutes to go before they wanted to head out onto the circuit, and that certainly caused some interesting racing. But the fastest driver in that time qualifying was the young man on your screen right here, Alessandro Tuscio, fastest in time qualifying. There's a look at some of his results, but we caught up with him after time qualifying. Here's what he had to say. Well, a very dramatic time qualifying on Sunday for the Mini 60 category. Only 1 lap was set for the entire grid, and Alessandro Tuscio, you were the fastest out of those drivers. Congratulations. How do you feel?
Thank you. It's crazy because no one got a clear lap. I'm pretty sure everyone had to overtake. And I was lucky enough that I was at the back of the group with a little bit of a gap, and I caught that gap on the first and second sector, and then I had to pass on the second sector, and then, well, it worked out pretty well.
Yeah. Do you know why the field waited until there was 2 minutes to go until anyone left the pre-grid?
Well, it's to save the tires, because especially in this heat, the tires go really easily. So they all try to save the tires as much as possible.
Okay, well, congratulations anyway. That is a superb time, and we'll see you starting those races right at the front. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, great to chat there too. Our man Alessandro Tuscio starting this one on the front spot, and again a very competitive time qualifying there. Priyan Bruno, second fastest in qualifying, the winner of the final yesterday after qualifying 23rd yesterday. So certainly really pushing him up and keeping those race results pretty consistent. Cremona, the first round in Italy, 5th and a 2nd, not the outright wins that we've seen, but now at Valencia and the first round here at Franciacorta, we have seen wins all the way throughout in the finals. Could it be the same story today? We'll have to wait and see. Werner Guth, the pole sitter from yesterday as well, also carries that pace on over to today, this time now starting on the 2nd row of the grid. Still a very competitive time qualifying. The young German certainly in a good position here, has won the inside line, so can follow Alessandro Tuscio through turn 1 at the start of these races. And of course, has Lorenzo Zucchetto for company just behind as well, the driver on the 8:23 as well. There's a look at Werner Guth's results. 8th was the final result in the race yesterday in the final. His best final results of the season so far, and he's looking to again maintain that, maybe even better that today. Starting alongside Werner Guth, we'll have the Italian Lucas Palacio as well. Lucas, also a fabulous day yesterday for him. Again, good positions gained all the way throughout, up and down moments, but qualifying today is exactly what he needs. Lucas Palacio really starting this one very strong. Yesterday's final, P7, not his best result. 3rd in the final in Cremona. 6th in Valencia as well, 7th yesterday. Looking to improve that today, and that's highly possible with such a fantastic qualifying spot of P4 out on circuit earlier on today. Like we were saying on the 3rd row of the grid, Lorenzo Zucchetto and Achilles Peruzzi, who start on the 3rd row of the grid as well, are drivers who we certainly do need to keep a very close eye on. Just to recap a little bit on the championship, obviously it's changed just that little bit in that one. Priyan Bruno still leading the way at the moment, 328 points ahead of Maxim Bobrozov, who didn't finish in the top 3 yesterday, but still a very competitive result. Albert Tam, who's 3rd in the championship, had a really tough day yesterday, did Albert Tam. Only scored 2 championship points in the qualifying heats phase, scored no points in the final. That really bumped him down the order a little bit, which put Bobrozov up into 2nd in the championship. Lucas Palacio as well, a very strong performance as well as Nicolo Perico. He had a very good racing yesterday. Maximum points in the qualifying heats phase for Nicolo Perico, as well as a third place in the final, just behind the likes of Augustin Felagoni and Priyan Bruno, like we were saying on the podium yesterday in Mini 60. But Palacio, for Perico, he was also the leader of the under-10s as well yesterday. And the under-10s kind of flood the top area in this as well. Werner Guth, part of the under-10s. Lucas Palacio, part of the under-10s. Lorenzo Zucchetto, Achilles Peruzzi, Giovanni Desani Jr. is part of the under-10s as well. And they're all up there in the front few rows here. So it's certainly going to make it one competitive for the actual full class as well as the under-10s. A little bit of drama there happening for Werner Guth. His engine has not fired up. Now he's got the help of the Parolin team there to see if they can get it started up, but that is not going. More flood to the assistance there to try and get the driver who's supposed to be starting this one on the second row of the grid started. Engine's fired up, but he has to wait now because the field has gone through. He will have to go to the back of the grid right now and get it going. So they're going to lift that card up, keep the revolutions going, but certainly this is a very dramatic one. He's got to wait for the back, and he's got to make his way through the entire field there to get started. There he goes. He's going to make his way out now. Let's see where he'll line up. If I was him, I would hang back a little bit and let the field catch you up and slot yourself in. Right, let's quickly take you through the starting lineup for this one then. It's going to be a very busy one, but it starts with Alessandro Truchon and Priyan Bruno on the front row. Werner Guth and Lucas Palacio hopefully will be both starting on row number 2. Lorenzo Zucchetto and Achilles Peruzzi round out row 3. Giovanni Desani Jr. and Albert Tam round out row number 4. Henry King and Sophie Guth, with her best qualifying of the season, rounds out the top 10. Juan Garfiate and Nicolo Perico go from row 6. Sebastian Kurz and Malex Mason go from row 7. They'll have Augustin Felagoni and Luca Mazzolon on row number 8. Vincente Capella and Antonio Ianni round out row 9. Then it's Oscar Hennock and Adi Kannenberg on row 10. They give us our top 20. Alexander Chilot and Elias Boulier round out row 11 ahead of Jay Kostecki and Aaron Mason on row 12. Then it's Lorenzo Villau and Ava Lawrence on row 13. Lena Salamanca and Marc-Martin Lormetz, who yesterday had a fabulous qualifying, this time around has got caught out and will be starting 28th place on circuit. We'll have Maxim Bobrozov and Jan Gazielik starting in the top 30, just behind Bobrozov, second in the championship. Ray Haber and Xi Huhui round out row number 16. Then it's Theodore Constantinou and Blaže Kostreva who round out the 34 kart field right on the final row of the grid. Well, drivers making their way into the final sector of the circuit. Hopefully, Werner Guth is there in position. Ooh, bit shaky there. Now he's not in position. But that was right on the red line there, and past that line you were not allowed to overtake. Now, that's going to make it a little bit interesting because now we're completely debunked and sort of out of order a little bit here because, yes, I don't think we'll be going this time around. I think we might go round again, but it's not my call. It's the race director's call, Martin Bean, and he has sent them round again. So, yeah, the field not in formation there. That does give Werner Guth an opportunity to go round and into his starting spot, but I'm going to ask very politely to the production crew if we could see a quick replay of that red line again. Did Werner Guth overtake over that red line to get into that last little position here? Right, so Werner Guth, you can see, is just in the middle of the pack at the moment, and then, yeah, just coming through. There, oh, he's alongside and then just squeezes ahead of one driver. That is a very close call, and, well, Werner Guth may have just bitten off a little bit more than he can chew there with getting back into his starting spot. He's still not there. There he is. Now he's coming through. He's not in position. He's got to gain another 1 spot, and he gets there now as the field slows right down. So he's in position now, but is that a little too late for that one? This time around, yeah, it's got the overtake done before the red line, but the first attempt there was a little bit shaky. Not too sure. Even if that might not have been Werner Guth. It could have been another driver. It did look like a similar style helmet, but not too sure. So we'll get confirmation of that. This looks a little bit better. Nice and controlled at the front here from Alessandro Tuchot and Priyan Bruneau, who are right at the front end of this one. Werner Guth now back in his original starting spot, has a good opportunity here to get a good run for the start. You can see there Juan Garciase in the middle of the pack, just controlling as well the rest of the field. He's got Sebastian Kurz just behind as we enter into the tram lines, and we are racing, and it's a lightning start for Alessandro Tuchot. What happened to Priyan Bruneau? His car just did not have the power out of the start-finish straight, and he has tumbled down the order just a little bit. I think he's only down to P4. Oscar Henrichs had disaster. He's spun at turn 1, and he's gone to the back of the field. Not sure if he was assisted there at all at the start of that race. Drivers making their way through. Big defensive lunges there. That looked like that was the final winner from, the third place yesterday in the final. Nicolo Perico trying to make his way through. But he is tumbling up and down the order at the moment as the field tries to figure out where they want to be at the end of lap 1. Blazej Kostreva, huge send down the inside there, gets 2 for 1 in towards turn 14 as they exit out onto the start-finish straight. It's Truchot who leads the way. Lorenzo Zucchetto is there in third place ahead of Priyan Bruneau in third place, I should say. Palacio into fourth, Perico in P5, Albert Tam ahead of Werner Guth, Maddox Mason from Sophie Guth, Achilles Peruzzi from Luca Mazzoli. Then it's Henry Clark in the top 12 at the moment. Biggest mover, Ava Lawrence at the start of this race in the treble 8 is up into P14 after gaining 12 places at the start. The same for Marc-Martin Lormetz, who also has gained 12 places. The same can be said for Ji Huaofen, who was in 21st place now after gaining 11 places. But back at the front here, and it's all kicking off a little bit for second place. Priyan Bruneau down the inside of Lorenzo Zucchetto and moves up into the top. Now, Bruneau there says to Zucchetto, right, let's focus here, let's concentrate. Let's not battle between ourselves, because look at that 9/10 gap between us and Alessandro Tuchot just ahead. The American-born Italian licensed driver with French parents. There we go. He's got a bit of everything going for him at the moment. For Alessandro Tuchot, leads the way at the moment comfortably by 7/10 of a second. Maxim Bobrikov at the moment now sets the fastest lap of the race. Bobrikov, who did not have the best qualifying at all, and has also had a pretty shaky start as well, has not gained any positions, is still running it around in P29, but crucially is the fastest driver on circuit. Palacio has gone down the order to P6 now. The same for Maddox Mason. He's still up positions, but he's just popped down into P8 as we watch these two here go to battle. We always say it, 8 wheels works better than 4, and we're seeing that right now. The slipstream and the bump draft from Truchot and Bruneau is working very well right now as they are closing in on the likes of Alessandro Tuchot, who leads the way still currently. And that gap still coming down just a little bit. Now, Nicolo Perico sets the fastest lap of the race. Again, maximum points for Perico yesterday in the qualifying heats. Is certainly a driver that they do need to be worried about just that little bit. But we will keep a close eye on this one as they go through. The gap is closing in just that little bit more here. And Truchot looking, well, comfortable at the moment at the front, but the gap is down to 2/10 of a second now. It is certainly going to be a 3-car battle here, but how's it going to happen? Are they going to just latch onto the back and break away, or are they immediately going to go on the offensive here? We'll have to wait and see. They do need to be careful with that, but the answer has been called out, and it's immediately on the offensive. Bruneau goes to the lead. Zucchetto follows as well. Now Perico and Tam have closed in. Palacio, Sophie Guth has closed in as well, as got past her brother and is the leading Discover Your Drive initiative driver for the F1 Academy category. Pushing herself up right now. This is her best performance of the season so far for Sophie Guth. Action here, though, as down the inside goes Nicolo Perico. He moves up into P3 now as he's on the charge to these front two who have broken away just a little bit. Well, Priam Bruno is now all on his own. He's got Truchot just for company behind. Then you've got Perico and Tam. Now, who's going to be the faster duo between these two here? Is it Bruno and Truchot, or is it Perico and Tam? Looking at the lap times on that last one, well, Bruno was the fastest driver out there. Truchot was not faster, though, than the two just behind. So we might see this gap disappear to nothing. There's 0.4 of a second between it. Looks like the field behind might be closing in a little bit more. Alex Mason up into P8 at the moment. Started 14th, has gained 6 places. Certainly having a very strong race in this one. Again, he's sitting just behind Sophie Guth, has got Werner Guth just for company behind, but Lucas Muzalon has just got past as well into P9. Change for the lead. Truchot back to the front. He had no intention of being caught up for the likes of Perico and Tam behind, and has said, right, I want to be in front as we go into this final lap of the race. Bruno this time cannot take that inside line. He stays behind as they go through now in towards turn 4, down in towards turn 5, hugging that inside line. Watch out for Tam on the outside, contact, and he goes round. Albert Tam out of this first qualifying heat after being in P4. That promotes now Guth going up, but the red flag has come out on circuit on this final lap of the race. And I'm not sure where that incident has taken place. I don't believe it's for the incident that we just saw at turn number 5. I don't think the drivers have seen it. I think they have. No, they've not seen it yet. They've not seen the red flag. They're still racing. There's the cause. The 834 has gone over, and that looks to me like turn 1. That is Ari Kallenberg. And, well, hopefully Ari is okay. Only been racing for just over a year, has Ari Kallenberg. And, well, that is certainly an unfortunate incident. And, yeah, for Ari Kallenberg tumbling down the order, thankfully we saw Kallenberg sitting down outside the kart there. Hopefully they are okay. But that's certainly not a sight you want to see. Well, with that red flag going out on the final lap of the race, that does call the results there. On my screen, it's Truchot who was leading on that final lap, but I have to remember, cast my mind back, if the results go back one lap, and if they do, it was Priam Bruno who was leading the way. But I won't confirm anyone who's won that race just as of yet. But on circuit there, before that red flag came out, it was Alessandro Truchot at the front ahead of Priam Bruno. Lorenzo Zucchetto finishing in 3rd place ahead of Nicolo Perico. Lucas Palacio finishing in P5 ahead of Sophie Guth in P6. That will be her best qualifying result of the season so far. Maddox Mason finishing in P7 ahead of Luca Muzalon. Werner Guth in 9th place ahead of Achilles Peruzzi in top 10. There is a driver going very slowly at the start, the 846. That was before the start of the race. That was Theodore Constantinou, who unfortunately his wagon didn't go. The start as well for Priam Bruno was not the one for him. The engine didn't fire up. He didn't break away at the start there. Slotted down into P4. Slowly pushed his way through. That was the first overtake past Werner Guth. That allowed everyone else to close in. Lorenzo Zucchetto able to get past as well. He pushed himself up, finishing in P3 later on in the race. Race going on, we then saw the breakaway from Truchot. The drivers behind all trying to battle their way through. There you can see Werner Guth again getting squeezed out wide a little bit at turn 14. Then we started to see Priam Bruno start to gain momentum here at this point of the race at the end of lap number 2. Lap number 5, and this is how they'd caught up to the race leader, Truchot. They changed positions. Truchot down to 3rd. It brought in Nicolo Perico. It brought in the likes as well as Lorenzo Zucchetto just behind. It all kept them nice and close. Then, though, later on, Truchot back down the inside. We'll get back up into 2nd place on the lap number 5. Nicolo Perico as well trying to follow suit. Not able to do so at that stage. then again tried down the inside of turn 11 and 12, managed to get that one done. Tam getting through as well. Then the change for the lead on the penultimate lap of the race. Down the inside would go through Show, and well, it was at this point now that we started to see moments happening. This was the dramatic moment here. You can see Tam on the outside tries to turn in, but the concertina effect there just forced him straight into the back. That incident didn't cause the red flag. This one here did. Two drivers involved there. The 837 also involved. That is Maxim Bobrozov, who was also involved, but clearly the 834 of Ari Kallenberg, the driver, being seen to there by the marshals, and of course medical teams quickly on scene as well, just to double check that Ari Kallenberg is okay. That did bring out the red flag, which unfortunately prematurely ended that race. We're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. One more qualifying heat to go up for the morning phase of the weekend. It'll be the seniors coming up next.
Racing Spirit was born out of the need to create a clothing line that could embody the passion and the experience that OMP gathered and cultivated working alongside the most successful racing teams of the last 50 years. Racing Spirit garments are made by enthusiasts, for enthusiasts. They can be worn every day in leisure time, but especially on race venues. From the paddock of the hottest Formula One races to the service parks of winter rallies in all weather conditions. Racing Spirit offers a complete range of clothing and accessories for men and women, designed and developed in Italy, combining aesthetics, comfort, and functionality. Because of these features, it is the brand of choice of several prestigious motorsport outfits and organizations. Racing Spirit is the meeting point between high quality and Italian style, as well as the introduction of sustainable materials and innovation, such as the use of graphene. Racing Spirit offering comes with 4 options: cutting-edge designs and customization techniques. Lifestyle is a line of garments ideal for everyday and leisure wear, with refined style and innovative materials. Crew are custom garments of the highest quality that strengthen the visual identity of the team or organization. For instance, the choice of Skoda Motorsport and Dallara. Corporate is a full custom-designed clothing line for sizable organizations, such as Toyota Racing Development. Finally, the teamwear line for maximum creative freedom uses sublimation printing technology derived from OMP's racing experience. Similarly to the other Racing Force Group brands, Racing Spirit shares the same DNA of competing to be the first and ultimately become the reference in the market.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Champions of the Future Academy program. One more qualifying heat to go in the morning phase of the qualifying heats, and it's OKN Senior qualifying heat 1 coming up next. 11 laps, 14.5 kilometer race distance, and again, in time qualifying this morning, well, what can we say? A packed one. Jakob Mikulev, I should say, on the top spot, was the fastest in time qualifying. He becomes the latest fresh driver to start on pole position, puts himself in a prime starting spot here. The driver from Malta looking very competitive this weekend. Sebastian Korpeng starting alongside as well after a red flag yesterday and a big hit in his last qualifying heat. Certainly suffered in that last one. But we caught up with Jakob Mikulev after time qualifying. Well, time qualifying for OKN Senior on Sunday here at Franciacorta for the Champions of the Future Academy program, and Jakob Mikulev on pole position. Congratulations. What a time from you. That seemed to come out of nowhere. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It wasn't easy, but free practice wasn't that good, so I know I had to concentrate for qualifying practice. I took a tow from someone and drove calmly and got a good time.
Do you reckon that pace can be consistent across all the races today? Do you reckon you could be on top for all of them?
Yes, I believe I can be on the top step in every race.
You're another new pole sitter. Makes it very interesting going into this one, and it should be an exciting day. Congratulations. We'll see you out there in the racing.
Thank you.
Well, great to chat there to Jacob Mikalev, who starts this one on that top spot. And like you were saying there, the confidence is high, thinking he can come away with the wins. We'll have to see what happens, but he certainly started it very strongly with that pole position in qualifying. Drivers get the engines fired up as they make their way out onto the circuit. Let's quickly take you through the starting lineup for this one. Jacob Mikalev and Sebastian Korpeng round out row number 1. Winner from yesterday, Luna Flusha, starts on row 2 with Maximilian Rafalek alongside. George Nassar and Franciszek Sajelski round out row number 3. Markus Schilkunas and Wojciech Woda round out row number 4. They'll have Philippe Carras and Ella Latamar on row 5 and the top 10. Hugo Heron and Jean Canas round out row number 6 with Bernardo Bonaldi and Gianna Pascal rounding out row number 7. Austin Gale and Romeo Nassar, who had a much better qualifying today, sees him start on the 8th row of the grid. They'll have Adam Sador and Gazi Motlaka alongside just behind on row number 9. Elizaveta Kozlova and Charlotte Page round out the top 20 on row 10. They'll have Pip Casabene and Sofia Sanfari on row 11. Peyton Westcott and Alessandro Biggie go from row 12 ahead of Charles Lambert and Charles Trockler on row 13. Then it is Casper Bonda from Prix Trevino with Jana Kapoor and Rahim Alabai on row 15. Great to see that Rahim is out on circuit for this one after he had a very big moment yesterday in the qualifying heats. Isaac de Melweek and Anastasia Genesis round out row 16 with Truly Adams all on his own on the 33rd spot of the grid, as Hamza Al-Fayez, I believe, is not going to be taking part in this one. Unfortunately, the driver who was involved in a red flag incident yesterday woke up this morning and I was told was just feeling far too sore to go racing today. So we do wish Hamza Al-Fayez a very swift and speedy recovery, and hopefully we see him out in the next round as we head to the Middle East, of course. This is the last European stage, or the last round of the European stage of the season. It is all the Middle Eastern rounds next. Right, drivers have passed the red line. Now they need to get themselves into position here. But as you can see, the field was very spread out there past the red line. So we'll have to see what happens for this one. It looks like it's okay now. Are we going first time? The answer to that is yes. We are racing in the first OKN senior race on Sunday, and it's a lightning start for Jacob Mikalev, who breaks away at the front. Luna Flusha slots into second and is immediately going to go on the offensive here to look down the inside, but Mikalev slams the door closed and denies the chance of getting through. Sebastian Korpeng, I believe, is there, but no, I think that might be, is that Wojciech Woda in the 253? No, it's not. It is the 220 of George Nassar, who's up into 3rd place now. He's had a lightning start for this one, as he's gained several positions as the drivers make their way down in towards the final hairpin. Big send for Flusha, and George Nassar tries to follow as well, but can't get through. Flusha in the lead at the end of the first lap of this first qualifying heat of the day, as Mikalev slots into 2nd place. Nassar's there from Korpeng. Schilkunas has got up into P5. He's had a good start here. He's up 2 places. Rafalek into 6th. Philippe Carras in 7th. Head on from Sajelski. Carras as well is there in the top 10. Eyes focused on these top runners at the moment, but Flusha leads the way from Mikalev. Nassar, though, leads the next pack just behind. George Nassar here is under an immense amount of pressure from the field behind as they're all closing in here. It's 3rd place all the way down to around P15 at the moment. There you can see them going through. You can see Korpeng at the moment in a in a tense situation right now. He's got Philippe Carras just behind. Now remember, Sebastian Korpeng was involved in an almighty moment yesterday that involved Rahim Alabai as well. Both drivers suffering quite a bit from a big impact yesterday, but thankfully both of them were okay, fit and well after the incident, and have been deemed okay to go racing today as well, which is superb to see, as Luna Flusha sets the fastest lap of the race now. Is bringing along Jacob Mikalev at the moment. He's not dropped off the back of Flusha's bumper. As well, Austin Gale's tumbling down my order on my timing screen. Is that a fact or is that a timing glitch? I don't know if it is. We'll see when they cross the line if it updates. But Austin Gale, who had a relatively decent qualifying here, now finds himself right down in P23. So he's had a dreadful lap on that last one. Eyes on here, the top two, Flusha and Mikulev. Right now, the gap coming down a little bit, extending still 0.2 of a second as Wojciech Woda sets the fastest lap of the race. Now, Woda at the moment currently just inside the top 10 in P10. As off the track there, that is Ella Latama, I believe, the driver of the 217, is really struggling there and is off the circuit, and another driver as well. I can't quite see the name or the number. That's a lot of damage. That is Elizaveta Kozlova. Oh dear, that is a huge shame. Elizaveta Kozlova, who had some pretty good results yesterday, was right up there at the sharp end at some points. Now lies broken at the side of the circuit, and that NASA panel completely snapped in half. That will need a good seeing to from a mechanic later on in the day. Here's a replay here. Now that's, I believe, on the outside, that is Austin Gale. That is the reason why he tumbled down the order, just on the outside line there, going wheel to wheel with another. And there you can see the whole train on the inside line will just have the pace, have the inside line, and he would just tumble down the order. Now, is this what happened with, wow, yes, that is what happened with Elizaveta Kozlova and Ella Latama. And, well, Ella nearly going over there. That is a very scary moment at a very fast part of the circuit. And there, unfortunately, for Elizaveta Kozlova, heavy damage to that NASA panel. Also, we saw a side pod there pop off one of the carts. So both drivers have now retired from this race. They are the first retirements of the race. Luna Flusha, however, leads the way still, and the gap has still not opened up. Jacob Mikulev, the pace here certainly has come across from qualifying and looking very strong here right now. Here's another replay down the inside going Sajelski, getting past there. That's a little further down in the order. I think that was on Maximilian Rafalik. They're currently running around P9, P10 at the moment. So battles happening thick and fast throughout the field. No real big movers out there. The biggest mover gaining just 7 places. That's in the form of the American Truly Adams. Now, Truly Adams certainly has pushed himself strong in this championship so far this season. Is a driver who is on the top end of the kind of weight scale on that one. He's a little bit over on the weight class of it. He's been working hard with trainers, really pushing himself forward, been working hard with the team. Certainly been delivering really strong performances over the season, and he's just consistently got better and better and better as the season has progressed here, and he's certainly proving that right now with the biggest mover so far in this race. We'll go on to lap number 8 now. 7 laps completed. It's still Flusha from Mikulev, Korpeng from Nassar, Kanas, Shilkunas, Woda at the moment from Haran, Sajelski, Kanas and Rafalik, the top 11. We cut back to the group just behind. There you can see Adam Sador, who's battling away at the moment in P12, has got the company of Maximilian Rafalik just ahead. Now Adam Sador is up 5 places in this race, looking to see if he can make it 6 at this moment. Pit Casabene and Sofia Sanfari are 2 drivers who have gained 6 places. The same for Rahim Alabai as well. He's also gained 6, the same as Isaac Demelweek. Also gaining 6 places. So there are movers through the field, but the pack is pretty spread out at the moment. They're still going out of the exit of turn 13 while we're going in towards turn 1 here at the front of the field. Well, at the moment, 50 seconds separates the entire field out on circuit. But Flusha still leading the way. This is the biggest gap it's been so far. Jacob Mikulev not able to really stick on that rear bumper, but the pace has been absolutely phenomenal from both drivers. They've broken away from the likes of Sebastian Korpeng, who's there in 3rd place and is about a second off the back of Jacob Mikulev, who's not able to closed that gap up at the moment. It extends just that fraction more now to 0.4 of a second for the race lead. We're going on to lap 10 now, 9 completed of this 11th lap race. And still the race is going on. You can see the trains forming in the middle of the pack there. Again, this is an interesting one here because we're seeing drivers who had those good results yesterday start to struggle today. And some drivers who had bad results yesterday really showing great performance today. And this is what we like about this format. This is what we like about the Academy program formats. You've got the full day of racing yesterday on Saturday with time qualifying heats and the finals. Today is a complete repeat of yesterday. It's a brand new day. It's not a carry-on from yesterday. The only thing they carry over from yesterday is the championship points they will have gained from yesterday's racing. There is Luna Flusha, though, winner of 4 out of the 5 finals we have had so far. And, well, she has scored nearly maximum points in many situations. She leads the championship at the moment by just under 100 points. I think it's 97 championship points. Luna Flusha leads the points tally at ahead of Felipe Caras at the moment, who's now second. But, yeah, not a lot of points between them.
Post number 2, 241 into 212 in the braking point before the corner. 241, 212.
Well, there we're seeing confirmation there. Yana Kapoor making contact with another at post 5 out on circuit, or post 2, I believe, on circuit. So not an interesting one we want to see. Checker flag's going to come out, though, and it's going to go the way of Luna Flusha. First qualifying heat of the day. 3rd qualifying heat win of the weekend. It was pole yesterday, wasn't pole today, but certainly the pace from yesterday has carried over. The winner in the final is certainly looking strong at the start of the day. Luna Flusha taking the win ahead of Jacob Mikulev, who rounds out the top 2. Sebastian Korpeng finishing in 3rd place ahead of George Nassar. Felipe Caras, who's 2nd in the championship, finishes this one P5 ahead of Marcus Shilkunas. Wojciech Woda in 7th ahead of Hugo Heron. Franciszek Sadzierski in 9th place ahead of Jean Caras, who rounds out the top 10 as the drivers make their way back into Parc Ferme. All of those results, of course, are provisional, pending any technical infringements or post-race penalties. That is yet to be seen. Of course, all of these drivers on exactly the same equipment. They can't really do much in terms of affecting the engines. They're sealed engine units. They get swapped over. There's a kind of lottery between the engines, so engine numbers change. Here we go then. Let's take you through the full starting lineup. We've gone over the top 10. Maximilian Rafalik finishing just outside the top 10 in P11 ahead of Adam Sedor. Bernardo Bonaldi finishing in P13 ahead of Pip Casabene. Gazi Motlaka gaining 3 places in that one, finishing in P15. 16th place sees Sofia Sanfari with a gain of 6 places ahead of Renaud Nassar. Then it's Gianna Pascal from Austin Gale. Alessandro Biggie rounding up the top 20 after gaining 4 places. Charlotte Page from Charles Lambert. Then it's Prix Trevino ahead of Raheem Alabai. Isaac de Melwyk from Casper Bonda. Truly Adams from Yana Kapoor. Anastasia Genesis from Peyton Westcott. And Charles Troxka rounding out the field. 2 retirements, Ella Latama and Elizaveta Kozlova. But there on your screen, after a strong performance yesterday, continues it today. Luna Flusha is on the top spots at the start of Sunday's racing here in Franciacorta. Well, we'll have a look at the highlights from that race in a few moments' time. Don't go anywhere. There will be a small interlude between this and the next round of qualifying heats, kickstarting again with juniors. But let's go over the highlights from that one. The start of the race, textbook, I think. Very strong performance from the front row there. Luna Flusha was able to get alongside at the start there. Despite her starting 3rd, she was able to get up into 2nd straight away. She switched over to the outside line, able to hold on to that 2nd place spot. Later on that opening lap, would immediately attack for the race lead, getting past down the inside. There you can see as well George Nassar trying to get that move done as well, not able to do so. Then ended up being swamped by the field behind, where Sebastian Korpeng was getting involved with the races. There you can see Philippe Caras as well trying to make his way through. This was the tense moment here for Austin Gale, getting caught out on the marbles, and you can see there absolutely no traction, ended up on the grass. A very sketchy moment, and would have to be careful at that point. A lot of the grass cuttings there, the clippings, can get caught up in the radiator. More drama as well off the track, and a heavy moment there. Ella Latema losing the side pod after contact with Elizaveta Kozlova, and a near rollover there for Ella Latema, and a broken NASA panel for Elizaveta Kozlova. Both of them out of this race. Again, Marshall's quick on the scene, but the only two retirements, thankfully, from that race, of course, with the non-starter of Hamza Al-Fayez, who's not going to be taking part today. Race finished, though, and it was a clean getaway. Luna Flusha crossing the line. She can be delighted with that one, carrying on the pace from yesterday over to today. She's looking to see if she can make it now 5 final wins out of 6 finals we've had so far this season. Well, as you can see, we've got a bit of a wait before we go for the next round of qualifying heats. The juniors will be going out next at around 1 o'clock, then the minis, then the seniors for their second round of qualifying heats. Then we go into the finals, starting with junior, mini, and senior, rounding out the day at around 5 o'clock for the podium ceremony. But we'll see you in around 45 minutes time for the second round of qualifying heats for the Champions of the Future Academy program here at Franciacorta.
In a world where speed reigns supreme and the race never ends, there exists a breeding ground for the champions of the future. Every turn, every lap, every challenge is a testament to the skill, determination and raw talent of these young racers. They come from all corners of the globe, united by a singular passion to conquer the track and emerge victorious. This is the Champions of the Future Academy program. This easily accessible formula is based off an arrive and drive concept. The championship aims to be as open for as many people from around the world, with the 6-round championship being split across Europe, visiting Italy and Spain, and then a flight around the world to visit the Middle East, visiting Dubai, Al Ain and Al Fassan for the minis, juniors and seniors. As an arrive and drive format, all you'll need to do is bring your race gear and a mechanic with their toolbox, and RGO&C will look after the rest with the championship's many partners. For the minis, Paralins has joined the series for the chassis and TM Cup for the engines. With the juniors and seniors, the drivers will be on the Kart Republic chassis, powered by IAMI, with the OKNJ and the OKN. And that's not all. You'll be provided with awning space, kart trolley with workbench, fuel and tyres, and everything is transported to each event thanks to our logistics partner, DHL. The Champions of the Future Academy program is not just another championship, it's an opportunity. Like so many drivers from around the world, the dream is to race in Formula 1, and with the Academy program, that dream is one big step closer. At the season launch in 2023, the Champions Academy saw a record-breaking entry of female participants. This has led to an increase of more than 25% of female drivers for the 2024 season. With the Mercedes-AMG Petronas F1 Team Junior program being the supporter of the first event, they've already spotted talent and have signed one driver, James Anagnostiidis, to the program. The Williams Junior F1 program also signed Sarah Matsuri to their program and supporting her career. And thanks to our partnership between RGO&C and the Formula 1 Academy, 9 female drivers, 3 per category, have been selected by the Global Discover Your Drive initiative, which aims to identify new female talent in motorsport. The support from all 3 and more really showed this is a genuine detection program. The space for a future in motorsport is limited, with all 3 categories filling up fast. The only question that remains is, are you a champion of the future?
The second half of day 2 is about to get underway here for the Champions of the Future Academy program. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, who are joining us from around the world for the 3rd installment of this 6-round championship in 2024. Myself, Anthony Jordan, joining you in the commentary box, but let's go over the track that we're racing at this weekend, the Franciacorta Karting Circuit, year of opening 2021. Event record set in time qualifying yesterday of Luna Flusha with a 48.140, a very quick time. The circuit itself, though, an absolutely mesmerizing circuit. 1,300 meters. It's 160 meters down the start-finish straight, 180 meters down the back straight in towards turn 14. Track width around 7.5 meters to around 11 meters around some parts of the circuit, with an elevation change of around 5 meters, spanning across the 1.3 kilometer race distance. Turns in total, 14 of them, 9 to the right, 5 to the left, and 2 hairpins out there. Makes it for an absolute superb venue to go racing on. Plenty of places to overtake. We've seen the overtakes in towards 2 and 3. We've seen them into turn 5, turn 7, turn 9, and especially turn 13. That hairpin just provides some of the closest racing and overtakes that we have seen over the course of the weekend. The track, though, the top speed, 125 kilometers an hour with an average speed of 97 kilometers an hour around the entirety of the 1.3 kilometer long circuit. Certainly going to make it a very interesting second half of the day. The first half was already been interesting. Juniors coming up next in the junior Heat 1 earlier on. We saw James Anagnosianis back on top form. Enea Pizzuto, the pole sitter, finishing in P2. Still a very strong result. Jan Michalescu rounding out the top 3 at the end of that race. But like we were saying, pole sitter Enea Pizzuto, what a weekend. Well, what a day so far he's had. Really strong performance in that first race. And again, really crucial to see what he can do in this one. Earlier on in that race, though, we did have a little bit of drama. There was a incident at the start. 4 drivers involved in that one. Michaela Hart, Sada Matsui, Dinia Islamov, and Isaac Say getting caught out in a first lap incident. Hopefully, fingers crossed and knocking on wood, we don't see anything similar to that in this next race. There is a look at some of the hard-working marshals out on the circuit. We could not go racing without their assistance. There are many of them. It is a hot day out there as well that they are having to deal with as the engines fire up and the drivers make their way out onto the circuit. Let's take you through the starting lineup then for qualifying Heat 2. It's Enea Pizzuto on pole position with Leonidas Peruzzi alongside. James Anagnosianis, the winner from the first heat earlier on, starts on row 2. We'll have Victoria Farfus on alongside. Then it's Angelina Simmons from Jan Michalescu on row 3 with William Marshall and Ella Hakkinen on row 4. Ella Hakkinen retiring earlier on in the first qualifying heat. Connor Clancy and Axel Nocom round out row number 5 and the top 10. We have Kasper Reipold and Isaac Say on row 6. Case Aziza and Dinia Islamov round out row number 7. They'll have Sofia Pavasnaya and Flavio Caria on row 8. Vanessa Shilkanate and Egon Prodotti round out the top 18 on row 9. Oscar Gallen and Toby Gale go from row 10 with Mateus Witwer and Marcel Scabella on row 11. Karine Kaur and Amru Abrinson round out row 12. They'll have Konstantin Paps and Sarmat Soy on row 13. Clelia Sodu and Nilis Malik go from row 14 with Sanjana Dandu and Michaela Hart rounding up the top 30. Then it's Vera Yuland and Xavier Dudkowski, Sujana Dandu and Emilia Vishmeska, Zachariah Dole and Christian Ebras, who round out the 36 kart field on circuit. All 36 drivers have made their way out onto the track, which is good to see. And hopefully we can get this race started first time of asking. There you can see the mechanics stand filling with mechanics and some drivers as well. There's a look at the intermediate classifications through the qualifying heats phase. Like we're saying, Anagnosianis, Pizzuto, Michalescu, Simmons, Reipold and Marshall round out the top 6 at the moment with Case Aziza and Connor Clancy, who finished within the top 8 in the first qualifying heat earlier on. It's qualifying Heat 2 on day 2 here in the Champions of the Future Academy program, and the lights go green and we are racing. Great start for Pizzuto at the front of the field, gets away well. Remember, was nervous going into these qualifying heats, but no need to be nervous at all. It was a P2 earlier on, and right now holding on to the lead. There is a little bit of a contretemps in the background there. Some drivers taking to the grass, one of them going very slowly. Looked like it possibly could have been the driver of the 15, which could have been Nilis Malik, but hopefully back on on track right now. Drivers going through, and Anagnostiadis immediately on the offensive here is trying to get through on the inside. Marshall's got himself up into third place. That's a lightning start there as we see everyone dive through. Angelina Simmons there in P4 as well is with this leading group as down the inside goes your new race leader, James Anagnostiadis, down the inside. The same as Marshall. He goes through, and it looks like across the line, it looks like Simmons got through as well. Yes, indeed. So Simmons now up into P3. We go on board with Ella Häkkinen right in the slipstream there of Case Aziza in the number 44. Wheel to wheel there, just getting down the inside of, I believe, Axel Nocom there as they battle away. The number 21 dropping down a few places here. Optimal inside line as you go in towards turn 7. This was just ahead of where she had the moment earlier on, which was at post number 5. No dramas this time around at this point of the race. Tucking in right behind there, you can see Jan Michalesko's not had the best start this time around. Finished third earlier on, and now has dropped down the order just that little bit into P10, P9 area. To the inside, Simmons on Marshall, now moves up into P2. Angelina Simmons is on a charge here to try and close in to James Anagnostiadis, who has broken away by nearly 0.4 of a second. Marshall still there in third, Pizzuto holding on to P4, but keep an eye because Leonidas Peruzzi is right there in P5 and is closing in. Well, we're going to lap 3 now, and as we see here, Peruzzi, we were just saying him closing in. Clancy still there in P6 as well. Victoria Farfus there in 7th place. See here, the number 14, Raipol just behind. Case Aziza and Ella Häkkinen now rounding out the top 10 on circuit. You can see here, though, the battle for P4 is on. Looking to the inside here. Unsafe and down the inside. Connor Clancy gets through on Pizzuto. Nicely done there and calm and controlled. Next position there would be the likes of Pizzuto. Pizzuto's just that little further ahead now, a little bit of breathing space between the two of them. Simmons right now has not been able to close that gap up to Anagnostiadis, but it looks like it's come down considerably here. This is a replay on board, down the inside. Oh, Jan Michalesko there. That was the driver that we saw going a little bit wide at the exit of turn at number 2. And this was down the inside, getting through. Nicely done on Case Aziza. And pushing away, and there was actually a cut there on the exit of turn number 14. That was Egon Pedrotti, I believe, the Italian. Unfortunately, we didn't see what happened, but he is out of this race. Down the inside, big send there for Kasper Reipold, trying to get down the inside of Peruzzi, but that's not worked out. We'll have to stay behind here as we're going to see a change for the lead. Angelina Simmons takes the lead of this race on lap number 5. She has now got past Anagnostiadis and has moved up now 4 places into the race lead here. This is absolutely superb. Earlier on, Angelina Simmons, I don't think we mentioned her a lot in qualifying Heat 1. She did finish in P4 earlier on, so it was a good result, but it was just right now. The pace has come alive in this one, as unfortunately, Dinia Isamov's day goes from bad to worse. Retirement earlier on, now in this race, sees a 5-second time penalty being attached to that warning flag. Eyes on this top battle here, because there's no room given whatsoever between these two. Anagnostiadis back to the inside through turn at number 2, and Marshall goes through as well. And again, it's so easily done. Here comes Connor Clancy down the inside. Pizzuto's dropped down to P5. He's now latched on to the back of this one, so still part of this battle is Enna Pizzuto. So we'll keep a close eye as this race goes on. But the top 5 still very close right now. P6 still Raipol, Peruzzi, Farfus, Häkkinen now up into P9. Case Aziza into 10th place. As Gale there, Toby Gale looking strong just behind this battle here. This is Ella Häkkinen on the rear bumper of Victoria Farfus. Out of turn 14, through the kink of turn 15. They come onto the flat part of the circuit now. From here, it's a little bit uphill through turn 1. Are we going to see a move to the inside? The answer to that is no. Staying behind. These two very, very close all season between these two. They've had good battles throughout it at Cremona and, of course, at Valencia. Now as well here in Franciacorta. Back here, though, change for the lead. Marshall now in the lead of the race. He's got through past James Anagnostiidis. He's pushing himself up now. These two have found themselves in a little bit of the rhythm here. Angelina Simmons sees herself in third place with a gap now of 0.6 of a second. But Marshall's going to go defensive here. He's going to squeeze Anagnostiis to the outside. We are on lap 7 of 8, so we are going on to the final lap. Could we get another 3-kart battle, 4-kart battle for the lead here on this final lap? Marshall leads the way, hugs the inside line. Kartsy is up into third place. Reipold's up into fourth. Angelina Simmons has dropped down to P5 now. Again, hugging that inside line goes William Marshall. He's yet to win a qualifying heat this weekend. Can he do so now? With that, he would be 10 points behind Anagnostiidis in the intermediate classifications. But if Anagnostiidis gets past, he'll have maximum points again and the 25 championship points, but he's still in line to get that. But if we can back him up into Clancy and Reipold, it might help him out here. Out of turn 13, there's happenings going on at turn number 5. We'll find out who that is in a moment. As down the inside, it's a late lunge for Anagnostiidis, and it's just not worked out. William Marshall will cross the line. The South African will take the win in the qualifying heat 2 in the junior category. His first win of the weekend. It is William Marshall across the line. Anagnostiidis takes second place, and with that, 94 qualifying heat points, and he puts himself on pole position for the final. There is what happened in the background. Sujana Dandu colliding with, her sister Sanjana Dandu. That is not what you want to see at all. The two sisters off the circuit there. And, well, unsure if they had collided with each other or whether or not that was a different incident. There's a replay of that change for the lead. It was down in towards turn 2. That's where we saw it. And there was a beautiful little switchback there for Angelina Simmons. That got her back up into third place. At one point, she did fall down to P5, which is still okay because she didn't lose any places from that one. She started P5. She ended it in P5. Well, drivers will make their way back into Parc Ferme. William Marshall, James Anagnostiidis and Connor Clancy, though, are your top 3. Reipold finishing in P4 ahead of Angelina Simmons. And Pizzuto, not the results I suspect he will have wanted, drops down to P6, but still a very strong performance. Leonidas Peruzzi ahead of Casey Ziza, Victoria Farfus from Toby Gale. Ella Hakkinen finishes in P11, down 3 places in that one. Gale with an impressive 10 places gained. Mateus Vitva, 9 places to finish in P12 ahead of Jan Mikuleshko in 13th place. Dinia Islamov in 14th, but remember, has that warning flag that does come with a 5-second time penalty. Sofia Pavaznaya finishes in the top 15 ahead of Flavio Carrier. Amadou Adrinzern ahead of Salamat Soy. Axel Nocom ahead of Vanessa Schilkenate. Konstantin Paps from Nilis Malik, Marcel Capella, Oscar Gallen and Xavier Dudkowski running at the top 25. But there on your screen, William Marshall, James Anagnostiidis and Connor Clancy are your top 3 in the second and last qualifying heat for the OKN junior category here in Franciacorta. Only the final left to go.
3, warning flag 27. 27, warning flag. Contact on 39.
So warning flag there for of course, the 27, Dinia Islamov, contact with Isaac Say. Again, those two drivers who had that incident in the first lap of the first qualifying heat earlier on, having dramas again in this one. Here's a look at the highlights from that one. Initially, good getaway for the front starting spot there of Enea Pizzuto, breaking away well at the start. Anagnostiidis was followed as well. Angelina Simmons taking advantage of that inside line, starting on the third row of the grid, but in P5, was able to get up into P3 in the early stages. This is on board with Ella Hakkinen at the start of that one. Now you can see getting squeezed out a little bit at the start of that one. There's the other driver who got squeezed out wide there. That was unfortunate. It was confirmation it was Nilis Malik who had gone off the circuit. Action all the way throughout this one. You can see again that difficult inside line through turn 5. It is quite bumpy if you hit that apex curb, and Ella Hakkinen certainly finding that out. James Anagnostiidis then later on the opening lap down the inside, and Pizzuto dropping down to P4. That brought up the likes of William Marshall and Angelina Simmons. Marshall having a really good race in that one. P7 he started that race from, certainly pushing his way through the order. And again, a smattering of other viewing spots here from Ella Häkkinen. Down the inside there, you can see getting that move done on Axel Nocom. Nocom, unfortunately, dropping down a little bit more in the order at the end of that one, finishing in P19. And again, the very tense moments here. This is such a fast part of the circuit here. It's all uphill through the exit turn 6 into turn 7 and 8 into the highest part of the track of turn 9. There was off the track moment there for, it looks like the 30 of Marcel Capella there. Unfortunately not having a race he would like. Angelina Simmons getting through into second place, and William Marshall later on. Again, it was a very busy first few opening laps of that race. There was the unfortunate moment where we saw the likes of Jan Mikulescu going backwards. Like I say, he dropped down 7 places in that one to finish P13. So again, not the results he will have wanted. And again, well, frustration there for Ella Häkkinen. Clearly not happy with something out there. Maybe the wagon not having full pace that she will have wanted in that one. So clearly not too happy. Eyes on this one, though. This was the first change of the lead. Angelina Simmons down the inside at turn number 2, carrying that speed through turn 1, uphill into the braking zone. This is back with Ella Häkkinen live on board. This was the move she made on Victoria Farfus, which got her up, I think, in around P8, P9 area. She would later drop back, though. You can see the defensive lunge down the inside there as well for Casper Reipold. It did manage to jump up 7 places in that one to finish in P4. That was the second change of the lead. Back down the inside, Anagnostiadis getting through, Marshall following as well. And then onto the final lap, Marshall then going for the lead and would hold on to it. Connor Clancy had closed in as well. The driver, the number 16, certainly having a good day today, as unfortunately the Dandu sisters going off the circuit at turn number 5. There's the other angle of that overtake for the race lead, and held on to it for the majority of it. Angelina Simmons, fantastic little switchback there, getting through up to 3rd place. She would later drop back down to P5. Unfortunately not having the full race she will have wanted, but still a good result. Very close across the line. William Marshall takes his first win of the weekend ahead of James Anagnostiadis. Connor Clancy finishing in 3rd place, then ahead of Casper Reipold and Angelina Simmons, the top 5. Well, that is the last time we see the juniors out until their final later on today at roughly around 3 o'clock local time. So make sure you set your alarm clocks for that if you are here for the juniors. But don't go anywhere, because minis and seniors are coming up next for their second. We're going to take a short ad break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with the last of the qualifying heats.
Racing Spirit was born out of the need to create a clothing line that could embody the passion and the experience that OMP gathered and cultivated working alongside the most successful racing teams of the last 50 years. Racing Spirit garments are made by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. They can be worn every day in leisure time, but especially on race venues, from the paddock of the hottest Formula One races to the service parks of winter rallies in all weather conditions. Racing Spirit offers a complete range of clothing and accessories for men and women, designed and developed in Italy, combining aesthetics, comfort, and functionality. Because of these features, it is the brand of choice of several prestigious motorsport outfits and organizations. Racing Spirit is the meeting point between high quality and Italian style, as well as the introduction of sustainable materials and innovations such as the use of graphene. Racing Spirit offering comes with 4 options: cutting-edge designs and customization techniques. Lifestyle is a line of garments ideal for everyday and leisure wear, with refined style and innovative materials. Crew are custom garments of the highest quality that strengthen the visual identity of the team or organization. For instance, the choice of Skoda Motorsport and Dallara. Corporate is a full custom designed clothing line for sizable organizations, such as Toyota Racing Development. Finally, the teamwear line for maximum creative freedom uses sublimation printing technology derived from OMP's racing experience. Similarly to the other Racing Force Group brands, Racing Spirit shares the same DNA of competing to be the first and ultimately become the reference in the market.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you are only just joining us, we are halfway through the second phase of the qualifying heats on day 2 here for the Champions of the Future Academy program. We've had 2 rounds already. We've been to Cremona in Italy. We've been to Valencia in Spain. We're back in Italy here at Franciacorta, just outside the city of Milan. And, of course, after this weekend, we head to the Middle East for 3 rounds at Dubai, Alain, and Alphasan to round out the 6-round championship. But the Mini 60 category is coming up next, and there on your screen is your pole sitter from timed qualifying, the likes of Alessandro Tuchot, who had an absolutely superb one. Timed qualifying was a little bit shaky, though, for the field. They only got 1 full-timed lap in, despite the fact that they had 6 minutes allocated for their time qualifying. They all decided to leave the pit lane with just 2 minutes to go. Qualifying heat earlier on, though, qualifying heat 1 certainly was an exciting one. Truchot taking the win from pole position. Brian Bruno finishing in 2nd, the final winner from yesterday, and Nicolo Perico in 3rd after finishing the final 3rd yesterday as well. There is Brian Bruno, the winner of the last 3 finals that we have had, winning both of them in Valencia and the final that we had yesterday. And fantastic to see here from Brian Bruno. Gets his neck brace on, getting himself ready to go for this one. Like you say, starting on the front row of the grid, he is a very quick pilot out there, but so are the rest. Werner Guff as well, who was pole on qualifying yesterday, starts this one on the 2nd row of the grid after another very strong qualifying performance. And again, good results earlier on as well, staying in and around the sort of top 10 area on the circuit. Lucas Palacio as well on the 2nd row. We'll have Lorenzo Zucchetto and Achilles Peruzzi. Albert Tam, who was 2nd in the championship going into this weekend, now 3rd in the standings, but may be able to claw it back a little bit here, because the person who took that away from him was Maxim Bobrozov, who qualified 29th place earlier on today. So really had to step it up a little bit in this race. But the result that he had earlier on certainly also didn't help him out. Engines fire up as the fields make their way out onto the circuit. Let's take you through the full starting lineup for qualifying heat 2 for the Mini 60 category. It is Alessandro Tuchot and Brian Bruno on row number 1, with Werner Guff and Lucas Palacio rounding out row 2. Lorenzo Zucchetto and Achilles Peruzzi go from Giovanni Desani Jr. and Albert Tam on row 4. Henry King and Sophie Guff from Juan Garcia and Nicolo Perico. Then it's Sebastian Chris and Maddox Mason on row 7. Augustine Falagoni with Luca Muzzolon. We'll have Vincente Capella and Antonio Iani on row 9. Then it's Oscar Hennock and Ari Kallenberg, who was involved in that red flag earlier on that stopped the first race. Hopefully is okay and is back out in this race. Oscar Chilot and Elias Boulier round out row 11 just behind. Jay Kostecki and Aaron Mason go from row 12. Then it's Lorenzo Villau and Ava Lawrence on row 13. Lena Salamanca and Mark Martin Lometz round out row 14. They'll have Maxim Bobrozov and Jan Gazielek on row 15. Ray Harbour and Xi Huahui round out row 16. Then it is Theodore Constantinou and Blaže Kostreva rounding out the 34 kart field. Looking out there, everyone has made it other than Blaže Kostreva, unfortunately. Doesn't look like he has made it out onto the circuit, which is a shame. We didn't see him out earlier on, actually, as well. He also had a DNS then, so hopefully all is well with Kostreva, because he did have some decent results yesterday. So it would be a shame to see if he is pulled out of the weekend due to injury. Field making their way through. Attempts hopefully up to where they want to be. There is our race director, Martin Bean, keeping a very close eye over the proceedings for this one. He's in constant communication with the rest of the marshals out there, and of course with the clerk of the course, Pasquale Lupili, who's out there as well, and in communication with the race control team, Joanna Falcao and Sara Blanco. Drivers making their way into formation, and again, there's some drivers in the middle. You've got to get it quick. There's the red line. Don't overtake again, because if you do, you'll be in trouble. Don't think about it. I can see you right there in the middle of the pack. It was looking down the inside there, but you're in position now. a little bit shaky then. So I think we've got drivers out of position in that front pack. And yeah, judging by how some drivers are just backing off a little bit, we've got some karts going very slowly. The field is not formed up at all here at the moment. So I suspect we'll be going around again. In fact, there's some karts that are actually ground to a halt a little bit there. They are going round again. Looks like Giovanni Desani Jr. was one of them. He's not crossed the line. He's crossed the line now. He was well out of position at the moment. The same for Ari Kallenberg, also out of position. And you can see there that kart's going very slowly out of the final hairpin. They've not stopped or stalled. There it is, the 8:34. That is Ari Kallenberg, the driver who was involved in the red flag earlier on. So maybe not all is well with that wagon after its incident earlier on. So we'll have to see what happens. Rest of the field now is starting to bunch them up nice and slow quite early on here. This is into the entrance of turn number 11 and 12 here, down the hill. It's actually quite steep downhill here. The camera angle there doesn't really do it justice, but there's quite a big elevation change. The view of the banking there kind of gives you an idea of how different the height difference is there as they exit out of turn number 10 in towards turn 11 and 13. Right, onto the back straight we go. Pace is very slow here. Now, again, we saw this the last time around. We've got drivers back into position now. There is still a gap missing there, and I think that could be the likes of Giovanni Desani Jr., who's not in position, but again, not too sure there. Rest of the field now is caught up. Got to keep them revs up a little bit here. It's very easy to sort of oil these karts up just that little bit. They don't like to run too slow for a long period of time, but you do have to keep the pace down to keep the pack all bunched up. It's kind of an Achilles heel for these karts. They need to go quick, but you have to go slow at this point. And again, that's what we're seeing here. The back of the grid is not formed up at all, but we are going to go green. We are racing, and we are going down in towards turn one. It's a great start then for Truchot, who holds on to the race lead here. Action in the background is down the inside. I think that was Juan Garciase getting caught up on that inside curb. Makes contact with another, but crucially, all still going. More contact there, down in towards turn number 3 between the two of them. And I think that was Lorenzo Zucchetto just getting into the back there of another. Amazingly, they all keep going. It looked like he went into the back there of Achilles Peruzzi, who amazingly has held on to it. But as they go through turns number 9 and 10 now, down the hill they go. You can see here that Lorenzo Zucchetto's got himself up into second place now, and it's right behind Alessandro Truchot as they go through. Looks like Brian Bruno has dropped down into third place, but they're both going to dive down the inside here. Werner Guss going to go through as well, as Truchot now goes wheel to wheel with Albert Tam, but Tam has to concede, slots back into position. So it's Palacio that leads the way. Getting confused with my helmets out there. So Lucas Palacio leads the way ahead of Brian Bruno. It's Werner Guth in third place from Alessandro Truchot, Albert Tam, Nicolo Perico, Peruzzi from, or Guth from Peruzzi. Iani Zucchetto's gone down to 10th place now. In fact, he's just crossed the line. It's gone on down to 13th. So it's not been the best start for Zucchetto. So Lucas Palacio leads the way, but not for much longer, as down the inside goes Brian Bruno, and through goes Alessandro Truchot. He makes his way back up into second place. Nicolo Perico now up into B4 is going very slowly there. That's not good at all. That looks to me like that's Lina Salamanca, unfortunately. One of the 3 drivers part of the Discover Your Drive initiative with the Formula One Academy program, but unfortunately not having a good run in this one. Field crossing the line. Look at this. One long train here for the race lead, and it's being led by Brian Bruno on lap 3. Nicolo Perico, though, who's right in there in the mix. 8 places gained in this one, has had an absolutely superb one. Round the outside there tries to go Werner Guth, but the inside line goes to Perico. But it looks like Palacio's going to slam that door closed on the exit and holds on to third place, and through will go Werner Guth. So chopping and changing here as everyone trying to find their way through. This is an absolutely humongous train of karts, all battling for the top spot here in this Superheat 2. At the moment, it's Alessandro Truchot who leads the intermediate classification, joint on points with Brian Bruno, But of course, because Truchot was on pole position this morning, he would start on pole position later on. There you can see the 8:20 of Sophie Guth, who's right behind brother Werner Guth, going through. Up 5 places in this one, and she is having an absolutely fantastic race weekend today. Sunday's is being an absolutely superb one, but she's right in there in the mid-pack. How is she going to deal with all this going on? And it looks like off the track goes Werner Guth. Is that Werner Guth going off the circuit or Sophie? No, I think it's Sophie Guth. Sophie Guth, as soon as we were praising how many positions she'd gained in that one, unfortunately, she's just got squeezed on the exit there. Too many karts trying to go down the inside at once. And unfortunately, at turn 5, she got caught out on that exit curb. The top 2 here, though, Brian Bruno and Alessandro Truchot, are breaking away. Now for Truchot, he had a win earlier on, and Brian Bruno was second. Well, they've only switched positions this time around. It's Bruno leading from Truchot. But again, Truchot will know he had pole position. He doesn't need to overtake here. He doesn't need to worry about having to think about the drivers, what's happening behind or anything, even though they're clear by 1.5 seconds from this battle here now, as Perico and Palacio have got both past Werner Guth, who now drops to P5 in this race. Yeah, like we were saying, they don't need to worry about defending and attacking each other. They've both got maximum points. They'll both start on the front row later on, as down go the inside goes Juan Garfiase, kind of forces the move a little bit there on Giovanni Desani Jr., who tumbles down the order just that little bit. Now he's got the company of Felagoni, who's going to look down the inside. Can't quite do it, and well, unfortunately, into the pit lane comes Lena Salamanca. She's called it a day in this race, which is very, very unfortunate. Race going on to lap 6 of 7. We're on the penultimate lap of this race.
Driver 842 starting broom position, 842.
So 8:42, which is Juan Garfiase, the Mexican, who had a good day yesterday, is now in the eyes of the stewards, as he has just been called there as being out of position at the start of this race. Well, we'll keep an eye on what happens with that in the results at the end of this one. We've got drivers going very slowly at the back of the field here as well. This is a replay. Albert Tam down the inside of Werner Guth. Oh, no room given there whatsoever. Werner Guth trying to hold on for as long as he can. Oof, and just got a nice little bump in the backside there to just get him through. I think that was Giovanni Desani Jr. there, just assisting him out of the corner. On to the final lap then, and we're starting to see the defensive manoeuvres here from Priyan Bruno. Through turns 1 and 2, hugging that inside line. He's going to do the same here in towards turn 5. Truchot's going to go to the outside. Could he get the switchback here? No. That is a superb defensive line from Priyan Bruno, just squeezing it back onto the racing line. Not blocking, leaving the racing room, but certainly just denying the chance of him carrying that speed through the corner to try and get the switchback. In through turns 10, 11, now 12, down in towards turn 13. The back straight and 2 corners left to go. And on the outside line here, look at the exit speed that Truchot had there. Throws the dummy, switches to the inside. But Bruno was wise to it. Slammed the door closed. And this time, it will be Priyan Bruno who's going to cross the line. The race winner in qualifying heat 2. Truchot will finish in 2nd place. But that will mean that Truchot will start on pole, as he and Bruno both have 94 qualifying heat points. But because Alessandro Truchot was on pole position earlier on, he will get the 25 championship points, and he will start on pole position for that final later on today. Perico finishes in an impressive P3. That bumps him up to 5th in the intermediate classification, so he'll be starting P5 for that final later on today. Palacio, with that result, finishes him in P4 overall for the final, but in this race, P5 on track. Albert Tam finishing in P4. That is the result he will have wanted. Ianni finishing in 6th place from Garfiase, but of course, he is under investigation at the moment because, of course, he was out of position earlier on. There, though, on your screen, Brian Bruno, Alessandro Tuscio, and Nicolo Perico are the 3 drivers on top in the qualifying heats phase. Just that final to go, and we will see Tuscio and Bruno go from that front row of the grid. We'll have a quick look at the full classifications there now on your screen. We've gone over the top 7 or so. Werner Guth finishing in 8th place ahead of Giovanni Desani Jr. Muzzolon finishing just behind as well in P10. Zucchetto finishing in 11th place ahead of Felagoni. Capella finishing in 13th place ahead of Ava Lawrence, who gained 12 places in that one to finish in P14. Maxim Bobajov, much better result in that one. 14 places gained, finishes just inside the top 15. The same for Marc-Martin Lometz. 12 places gained to finish in P16. The same as Shi Hufei, finishing in 17th place after gaining 15 places. Maddox Mason from Elias Boulier, Achilles Peruzzi, Henry King, then it's Aaron Mason, Ray Haber, Sebastian Kurz, Ari Kallenberg, Oscar Hennock, then it's Theodore Constantinou, Lorenzo Bilal, Oscar Chilot, Sophie Guff. Very unfortunate for Sophie Guff. She was running right up there in the top 5 in the early stages of the race, and unfortunately for her, she ends that one P30. Jay Kostecki, Jan Gazielik of the 32 finishers with the 1 retirement, Lena Salamanca, unfortunately. Here's a look at the highlights from that qualifying heat, and again, initially the start for Tuscio, absolutely textbook getting away. There was the moment down the inside for Juan Garciase, just getting caught out on that inside curb. A little bit of contact with another, looked like maybe the 824 of Lucas Palacio, potentially, not too sure if that was the contact he had there. Lucas Palacio starting to make the moves as well, pushing himself up in the order, but certainly a good race in the early stages for him. Gaining those positions there as well. We saw Werner Guth and Sophie Guth getting up past the entirety of that humongous pack just in the background. The first lead change coming in though, Brian Bruno down the inside, Tuscio coming through as well, both of them getting past Lucas Palacio, who dropped down to 3rd place at that point. That was the unfortunate moment there for Lena Salamanca. Unfortunately, she would keep it going, but bring it back into the pit lane, retiring from that race. Nicolo Perico starting to make moves as well in that early stage of the race. Would lose out, though, to Werner Guth and Sophie Guth, who managed to get past. And again, both of them trying to squeeze through here at this point. Now, we need to keep an eye on Sophie Guth at this stage of the race, because it was around this moment here where she unfortunately got caught out. And there you can see the dust kicking up in the background there at the exit of turn number 5. That was Sophie Guth tumbling down the order. Unfortunately, he's just caught out with too many karts in the same part of the track. Juan Garciase making his feelings very well known, pushing himself up the order a little bit, getting past Giovanni Desani Jr. There was Salamanca, unfortunately retiring from the race as Albert Tam started to try and make the moves here. Werner Guth trying to hold on the outside there, just getting squeezed, but getting that little bit of assistance out the corner to keep that momentum up. Into the final hairpin they would go. This very, very brave move there from Alessandro Tuscio to try and throw the dummy, but Brian Bruno was very wise to that move and held on to the race lead across the line. Both of those two joint on points, but Tuscio out-qualifying Brian Bruno means that he will start on pole later on and, of course, take those 25 championship points. Well, one more qualifying heat to go before the finals later on today, and it's now back with the senior category. And again, a very busy race they had earlier on in category. So many up and downs, but Luna Flusha again taking a qualifying heat win, but not starting on pole position this time around. That would go to this young man here, Jacob Mikolev, who had put it on pole position this morning. He will start alongside Sebastian Korpeng, who finished 3rd earlier on after yesterday's, well, very dramatic incident that he had on track. Great to see that he is still fighting fit and is out there. And like I say, finished 3rd earlier on after qualifying P2. this morning in time qualifying. But there, though, on your screen, Jakub Mikulev, I think, seated, calm, ready to go. We are a few moments away from getting this race started. This last race due to start at 1:40. Local time right now is 1:37, so we are bang on schedule, which is fantastic to see. Great work from the officials here this weekend to make sure that we remain on a tight time schedule. There, Sebastian Korpeng starting on the front row of the grid. And again, great to see that he's actually out racing today. And not just that, his performance so far today as well. Absolutely fantastic. He has pushed himself through the dramas from yesterday. He stayed focused today, and he's coming to this one second in time qualifying, third earlier on. Can he better that result in this one? We'll have to deal with the likes of Luna Flusha and Maximilian Rafalik on the second row of the grid. Remember, Flusha at the moment has been the one to beat. She has won 4 out of the 5 finals so far this season. The only other driver to win a final is Markus Schulkunas, but he finds himself starting this one a little further down in the order, but not too much further down. He starts at P7 on the 4th row of the grid. So there's only him and George Nassar just between him and Luna Flusha. So again, those two have been battling away. There is Luna Flusha on your screen, the driver for Spain, and the leading F1 Academy Discover Your Drive initiative driver in the senior grid. The other two in class, Charlotte Page and Peyton Westcott, as well, part of the F1 Academy Discover Your Drive initiative, have had a challenging weekend so far, but have certainly proved themselves in these races and have tried to push themselves up through the order as much as they possibly can. We're moments away from getting this last qualifying heat started. And again, in the championship standings, it's going to be interesting at the end of this one, because at the moment, Luna Flusha, understandably with those 4 final wins out of 5, does lead the championship standings by about 97 championship points. She's got a commanding lead at the moment, but we are only at the halfway point of the championship. There are 3 more rounds to go when we head to the Middle East. Engines fire up. Let's take you through the full starting lineup for the last qualifying heat of the weekend. It is Jakub Mikulev starting on pole position, with Sebastian Korpeng alongside. Luna Flusha and Maximilian Rafalik go from row 2. They'll have George Nassar and Franciszek Stajelski on row 3. Markus Schulkunas and Wojciech Woda round out row 4. They'll have Philippe Caras and Elia Latimer on row 5. Hugo Heron and Jean Caras round out row 6. They'll have Bernardo Bonaldi and Gianna Pascal on row 7. Austin Gale and Romeo Nassar go from row 8. They'll have Adam Sador and Gazi Motlaka on row 9. Elizaveta Kozlova and Charlotte Page go from row 10. Hip Casabeni and Sofia Zanfari round out row 11. They'll have Peyton Westcott and Alessandro Biggie on row 12, with Charles Lambert and Charles Troxler on row 13. Casper Bonda and Prix Torvino round out row 14. They'll have Yano Kapoor, Raheem Alabai, Isaac Demelweek, Anastasia Gelisis, Truly Adams, and Hamza Al-Fayez, who would be out there, but unfortunately injury has meant he is out of this weekend. The Jordanian will not be taking part in any more this weekend. 33 runners in this last qualifying heat of the day. And in the intermediate classifications, of course, Luna Flusha leading that one with the win earlier on. 50 points from Jakub Mikulev, Sebastian Korpeng from George Nassar, Philippe Caras from Markus Schulkunas, Wojciech Woda, and Hugo Heron round out the top 8 in the qualifying heats phase of this weekend. More drivers now making their way in towards turn 13. They'll have to slow the pack down now, so we'll keep an eye here. Jakub Mikulev and Sebastian Korpeng, not line astern from this point on. They should already be in 2x2. As you can see, the field seriously needing to close up here now. I think they are going to successfully manage to do so at this point. So it looks relatively okay. Are we going first time of asking? The answer to that is yes. We are racing for the last qualifying heat of the day. And Mikalev holds on to the race lead of this one as they dive down the inside of turns 2 and 3. There's a little bit of coming together in the background, but crucially, all the drivers get through turns 2, 3 and 4, but not turn 5. Out of the race and nearly on the inside there. That's gone terribly wrong for Gazi Motlaka. Gazi Motlaka, who had scored fantastic points in Cremona in the rain. Right now, the driver from Mozambique has got one attempt to get it restarted, and the answer to that is no. He is out of his last qualifying heat of the weekend. It is just his final to go. Change for the lead. Once again, it happens at turn 14, and Luna Flusha takes the lead of this race. Jacob Mikalev stays there in P2. This is a carbon copy of what we saw earlier on. The pace between these two was nearly identical, but right now, are we going to see a change this time? George Nassar switches places. Korpeng gets through up into third place as the field behind close in. Rafalik head on. Shilkunas, Karas, Voda, Sajeleski, Gale and Bernoldi, the top 12. Ella Lattama has dropped down to 13th place, but still she's having a good run in this one after the retirement she had earlier on after contact with Elizaveta Kozlova. Hopefully this time around we don't see anything like that. Back through turn 14 they go. Look at the lead here that the top two have got. Flusha and Mikalev have broken away by about a second now from Sebastian Korpeng in third place. Are they going to be able to maintain that pace? And crucially for the final, you know, they've not had to battle too much between these two. It's just been putting in those fast laps in as much as they can. They'll have used these Vega tyres quite substantially. Again, they're on the medium compound of the Vegas. So they're slightly softer than what the seniors have, as there's drama in the background there. More comings together, and I think that might be Charles Alexander Troxler and Truly Adams, unfortunately, out of this race as they tumble down the order. There, the American walking away from his kart. And, well, that is a big shame to see. Had a great race earlier on. He gained several places. This time around, it's not going to go his way. On lap 4, Flusha from Mikalev, Korpeng from Nassar. Shilkunas now up into P5. Back here at the front as Mikalev sets the fastest lap of the race here. So that gap's closed down a little bit. Maybe Flusha is not as safe as I think she wants to be here. Now, if there could be a change here, it would certainly benefit Mikalev. He would join Flusha on joint points, but of course, he out-qualified Luna Flusha, so it would benefit him even more in terms of he would take the lead of the intermediate classifications if he can get past, but that is a big if, because Flusha's pace this season has been absolutely second to none from the rest. Korpeng, still there in third place, is trying his best to close in right now, but Sebastian Korpeng, the gap's up to 1.3 from Flusha. So again, that is just, well, kind of staying the same right now. George Nassar and Shilkunas are still there just in tow. Rafalik can head on, Karas and Sajeleski. Gale still in the top 10. There's a look at your points for the qualifying heats phase of today. Flusha with the maximum at the moment. She won earlier on. She's on line to win this one as we enter onto lap 6. 5 laps completed here. We go on board live with George Nassar in the 220. Currently battling in P5 right now. Down the inside there goes Marcus Shilkunas, so he's got through on that last lap. He's moved up into P4 now. And you saw there the communication between himself and Nassar, just saying, right, let's try and push forward now. Because, you know, they've got Sebastian Korpeng. Third place is right there ahead of them. You can see how much track they're using on the exit there of turn 8. Using all that exit curb. Down the hill they go now. Quite sizably downhill here. They can carry the speed through this one. Use all that exit curb as you head down the back straight there. The 180-meter back straight into the hairpin of turn 14 and round the final turn 15 here. Over the start-finish line they go. The gap stays around a tenth of a second, between a tenth and 2/10. So again, it's very close. But again, we're not seeing that outright pace that could worry Flusha at the moment. She's not had to take a defensive line, and she's not lost any time at this moment here. But Jacob Mikolev's pace here is certainly looking very strong. So is Chuck Voda's pace at the moment. The driver currently sits in 11th place. Fastest out there, 48.7. It's a very quick time at this point of the weekend. Korpeng still in 3rd place. Let's have a little look further down the order in terms of positions while we keep an eye on this live feed of the race leaders. Charles Lambert has gained 7 places in this race and is up into P18. Yana Kapoor as well has gained 8 places and is now up into P21. So the American looking strong at this point of the weekend. Of course, all these drivers will make it into the final later on. They'll have the same tyres that they'll have used in time qualifying this morning and the 2 qualifying heats that they will have done at the end of this race. And of course, it's just a case of looking after those tyres as much as you possibly can. Live on board here on the left-hand side of your screen with the live outside feed for the top 2 at the moment. This is still George Nassar who we're live on board with down the back straight. You can see there the closing distance into the braking zone. It's a very tricky braking zone there because it's so easy to brake too early for it. And it's understandable. It's a tight turn at the end of a long straight. You think, right, you've got to brake nice and early, calm the cart down, and just breathe it round the corner. But because it's uphill, you can be so late on the brakes there. And of course, the power to weight ratio on these carts and everything like that, you can brake so late into all the corners. This, however, might have been a fraction too late down the inside for some of our drivers. Down the inside there, that looked like that could have been Charles Troxler, and off the track there would go the 2-1-6 of Anastasia Gelisis, unfortunately, who has had, well, a challenging weekend on this one. It's not dampened her spirits, though. She has been enjoying doodling on her tyres with some tyre pens, giving us some fantastic pictures yesterday. And as well as her NASA panel as well from yesterday. She had a slightly damaged one. It was replaced overnight. She ended up drawing all over it and getting quite a few people to sign it as well. So absolutely fantastic to see. A lovely little memento at the end of the European stage of the championship. Flusha still leading the way as we're on lap 10 of 11. Mikolev still in 2nd place. Korpeng in 3rd. Is being closed in by Marcus Shilkunis, the driver of the 242. This is the battle you can see on your screen right now. The battle for 3rd place is on. Korpeng, we've said it time in, time out, had a really tough day yesterday, getting caught out in that red flag. Big damage to his kart as he ended his race, but still today looking much stronger. Wojciech Woda seeing a warning flag, and unfortunately for him, that will come out with a 5-second time penalty. That will not be well received. But now for Luna Flusha, it's just a case of bring this kart to the end here. This qualifying heats phase this weekend has been Flusha's to lose here. She has been absolutely dominant. She was dominant in Cremona. She was fantastic in Valencia, only lost out on one final, and so far this weekend, it's been a near perfect one. Pole yesterday and 2 qualifying heat wins, 3rd in qualifying today, and now 2 qualifying heat wins. Can she make it a final win later on today? Luna Flusha crosses the line and wins her 2nd qualifying heat of the weekend. Jacob Mikolev crosses the line and sees a second place, and will start on the front row alongside Luna Flusha for that final. Sebastian Korpeng finishes in 3rd place ahead of Marcus Shilkunis. George Nassar finishes in P5 ahead of Hugo Heron. Philippe Canas from Franciacorta Karting, Maximilian Rafalik, and Bernardo Bonaldi, who rounds out the top 10. But there on your screen, Luna Flusha, again, the Spaniard, has been hard to beat this season, and she has certainly proved herself. The young driver is certainly making a name for herself in this karting championship, the first season, the full season of the Champions of the Future Academy program. And like you say, we have one final left to go for the seniors this weekend. There's a look at the full results then. We've gone over the top 10. Ella Latimer finishes in P11 ahead of Romeo Nassar. Great result there for Nassar. Wojciech Woda finishing in 13th place ahead of Austin Gale. Pip Casabene rounds out the top 15. Elisabetta Kozlova, much better result this time around. No retiring, finishing P16 ahead of Charles Lambert. Adam Sador from Gianna Pascal. Charlotte Page with a good result, finishing in P20 ahead of Yana Kapoor with a good finish in P21. Jean Caras struggling in that race, dropping 10 places to finish in 22nd ahead of Sofia Sanfari. Raheem Alabai gaining 6 places, finishes in 24th ahead of Alessandro Biggie. And Peyton Westcott, Prix Travino ahead of Charles Alexander. Then it's Casper Bonda and Isaac de Melwijk, Anastasia Genesis and Truly Adams rounding out the rest of the field. The retirements in that race, Gazi Motlaka unfortunately not making it to the end. But there on your screen, Luna Flusha. Here's how it was done then. The highlights from that race. Initially, good getaway for the front runner, Jacob Mikalev. Had that inside line. We had to wait until we got to turn number 14 before we saw a change for the lead. That was the outside of turn number 2. We saw some dust getting kicked up. We'd have to wait until turn 5. Watch at the left-hand side of your screen here. Coming into shot now, Gazi Motlaka, unfortunately unaware of how that happened. It was off camera. Clearly had a moment before the braking zone. This actually might tell us how that happened. Where is he? Yeah, again, just in that mid-pack, gets rotated on the straight. Luckily, doesn't come back onto the circuit. Immediately out and trying to get that kart restarted. Unfortunately, though, wasn't to be. Action early on, though, and Flusha nearly losing out on second place there as George Nassar tried to squeeze through, but just not finding a way past Sebastian Corpeng. Was able to close in at that point of the race. It was then in towards turn 14, the hairpin on circuit, where we saw Flusha make the move earlier on. We saw her make the move again this time around. There she went down the inside, and the same in the background as well. George Nassar having to defend just in the background while it was up into third place. Eyes would look back a little bit as Hugo Heron would start to make his way through as well. Zajelski was there, Rafalik trying to battle his way through in the early stages. Shilkunis as well certainly started to make his way back past as Sebastian Corpeng got those moves done. You can see the physicality there from George Nassar, how much input he's putting in on the steering, and that could be a sign of tyres not being in the greatest condition. Again, it's a hot weekend. These tyres do last a while, but there you can see that sometimes they can go off quite quickly there off the circuit. Not a good race there, unfortunately, for Anastasia Genesis, nearly collecting Truly Adams' car on the exit there. But across the line, it would be Luna Flusha who would take the win and her 4th qualifying heat win out of 4 qualifying heats over the course of this weekend. Can she go on to take her next final win later on? You can find that out for the seniors at 4 o'clock local time. The finals, though, kick-starting at 3 o'clock for the juniors, minis and seniors. The podium's taking place at 5 o'clock later today. So we're going to be back in around an hour's time for those finals. We're going to find out who's going to be championship leader when we end the European phase of this championship. We'll take a short break. We'll be back in a few moments' time for the Champions of the Future Academy program.
In a world where speed reigns supreme and the race never ends, there exists a breeding ground for the champions of the future. Every turn, every lap, every challenge is a testament to the skill, determination and raw talent of these young racers. They come from all corners of the globe, united by a singular passion to conquer the track and emerge victorious. This is the Champions of the Future Academy program. This easily accessible formula is based off an arrive and drive concept. The championship aims to be as open for as many people from around the world, with the 6-round championship being split across Europe, visiting Italy and Spain, and then a flight around the world to visit the Middle East, visiting Dubai, Al Ain and Al Fassan for the minis, juniors and seniors. As an arrive and drive format, all you'll need to do is bring your race gear and a mechanic with their toolbox, and RGO&C will look after the rest with the championship's many partners. For the minis, Paralins has joined the series for the chassis and TM Kart for the engines. With the juniors and seniors, the drivers will be on the Kart Republic chassis, powered by IAMI, with the OKNJ and the OKN. And that's not all. You'll be provided with awning space, kart trolley with workbench, fuel and tyres, and everything is transported to each event thanks to our logistics partner, DHL. The Champions of the Future Academy program is not just another championship, it's an opportunity. Like so many drivers from around the world, the dream is to race in Formula One, and with the Academy program, that dream is one big step closer. At the season launch in 2023, the Champions Academy saw a record-breaking entry of female participants. This has led to an increase of more than 25% of female drivers for the 2024 season. With the Mercedes-AMG Petronas F1 Team Junior program being the supporter of the first event, they've already spotted talent and have signed one driver, James Anagnosiadis, to the program. The Williams Junior F1 program also signed Sarah Matsuri to their program and supporting her career. And thanks to our partnership between RGO&C and the Formula One Academy, 9 female drivers, 3 per category, have been selected by the Global Discover Your Drive initiative, which aims to identify new female talent in motorsport. The support from all 3 and more really showed this is a genuine detection program. The space for a future in motorsport is limited, with all 3 categories filling up fast. The only question that remains is, are you a champion of the future?